शेषार्यवंशकलशोधरिपूर्णचन्द्रम् श्रीमन्नृसिंहगुरुवर्यपदाब्जभङ्गम् श्रीमन्ननन्तगुरुवर्य सुतङ्गुणाब्धिम् सम्पत्कुमारगुरुवर्यमहं प्रपद्ये। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरवर्धनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। गीता सुगीता कर्तव्या किमन्यै शास्त्रविस्तरैः या स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्माद्वे श्रुता. Today's subject matter of discussion is the 14th chapter of Gita, called as Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. This is concerned about body, the Jagat, which is called as a Chit. The true nature of Prakriti and self in combination was explained in chapter 13, and it was also taught that with modesty resulting from doing bhakti to the Lord, one can get over the bondage of samsara. It was also explained that bondage itself is caused by attachment to pleasure, pain, etc., which result from prior linkage with gunas, such as sattva, etc. On the authority of the texts, it is the contact with these gunas that is responsible for birth of this soul, the good and evil wombs. The present chapter will explain as to how the gunas become the cause of bondage and how their hold can be eliminated. In the first 6 chapters, Krishna Paramatma highlights the reason for this bondage of samsara. And in the next 10 shlokas, the activities are mainly due to three characteristics, namely sattva, rajas, and tamas. And to control their grip, two shlokas explain. And to wash off the control, 5 shlokas explain the method. So, the Gotitraya that is depicted for Aishwaryarthi, Kaivalyarthi, and Bhagavad Sharanarthi is achieved by surrender, and Krishna Paramatma is the decider of the bhakti required for daily activities. Keeping this in view, we will go inside the chapter. What does the inside material say? That is, the content of this chapter is an elaboration of what has been briefly mentioned in the previous one. Purusha is bound in Prakriti on account of his concern with the pleasures and pains brought about by the gunas of Prakriti. In this chapter, firstly, the way in which the gunas bind the Purusha are explained, and secondly, the means for the redemption from the gunas is determined. With this twofold theme in view, the chapter illumines an important aspect of the interrelation between Purusha and Prakriti. The knowledge about to be imparted is praised as being most important concerning Purusha and Prakriti, or it enables the contemplative sages to cross over the realm of transmigration to that of the perfection of eternal life. This effective adoption of the knowledge renders one exceedingly similar to God Himself, for though it one agrees beyond birth and death. I introduce you, I introduce the living souls in that great principle of mind, which is the source of all beings in their physical aspect. This association of the two principles brought about by me is what brings into being all the creatures. Whatever creatures spring into life in the ordinary course of nature also have thus the great material principle as their source and me as their father. This is the account of creation and the birth of beings that Sri Krishna offers as an introduction to the main teachings of this chapter. The self placed in Prakriti is bound by the gunas that belong to Prakriti. These gunas are inaugurated. The self placed in Prakriti is bound by the gunas that belongs to Prakriti. These gunas are inoperative when Prakriti is unmanifested, but are active in the products of Prakriti. Their existence and activity are cognizable only on the basis of the effects they produce. They fetter the soul under conditions of creation brought about by the association of Purusha and Prakriti. The Purusha is free from pure. Purusha is free and pure by himself, but in the condition of embodiment, he gets tied up by the gunas. The forms of these three gunas are to be ascertained, and the manner in which each of them binds the soul is to be understood. Among these three, sattva does not obstruct the manifestation of knowledge and happiness, and hence it is known as stainless. On account of this nature, from its operation arise knowledge and happiness. It binds the soul by implanting in it attainment to knowledge and happiness. In short, sattva genetics conditions of knowledge and sattva generates conditions of knowledge and happiness and also generates a hankering for knowledge and happiness. Rajas is the source of passion. Passion is lust. Rajas is the birthplace, as it were, of sense desires and the desire for association with which a son of the sun and friends. Rajas binds the soul to actions through desires. The actions impelled by desires, when performed by individuals, leads to incarnation according to those actions. Thus, Rajas binds in the soul through the creation of attachment to actions. Rajas is the cause of passion, desire for sense objects, the clinging to certain persons and the attachment to actions. Tamas is born of wrong and understanding and gives rise to wrong understanding. It binds the soul through inadvertence, inertia, and sleep. Inadvertence is of a nature to induce exertion in directions other than the right ones. The declination change. Inadvertence is the nature to induce exertion in directions other than the right ones. The disinclination to engage in any action, whatever is inertia. Sleep is the condition in which the sense activities are suspended. When only the external senses are suspended, we have dream. And when you what is of most weight in these gunas in the matter of affecting the bondage of the Purusha must be specifically pointed out. The most important effect of sattva is that it creates attachment to pleasure, while rajas has as its most important effect the attachment to action. Tamas covers up authentic knowledge, gives rise to wrong understanding, and thus engenders attachment to actions contrary to one's own morals or moral obligation. Now, these qualities are all inherited in Prakriti, which takes on the form of the body. They abide always characterized in Prakriti. How can they generate effects with which are influenced? How can they generate effects which are incompatible? The three gunas have mutually contrary effects and they everlastingly cohere in Prakriti. Will not the several effects get cancelled in the final outcome? These answer lies in the fact that the qualities function with variable relatives. Okay, potency owing to the past karma of the individual in the question. Sometimes sattva predominates, suppressing the other two. Sometimes rajas predominates similarly, and sometimes tamas functions, keeping the other two at the minimum. As to which guna is predominant in a particular situation, we are to be guided by the observed effects. When intellectual illumination arises in an individual through all the channels of knowledge, we are to construe that sattva is dominant in this individual at this time. When niggardliness, restlessness, engagement in actions calculated to bring about advantageous results, uncontrolled indulgence in sense properties, and the desire for sense objects are found, we are to infer that rajas is predominating in the individual at the time. When knowledge does not arise, when there is inertia, when there is the advertence leading to performance of evil actions, and when there is wrong understanding, we are to make our make out that tamas is the dominating at the table. We are to make out that tamas is the dominating guna at the time. If a man dies when sattva is dominant in him, he attains birth among the holy ones who know the highest. If he dies when under the dominance of rajas, he gets reborn among those who are attached to actions of a utilitarian type. If he dies when tamas is dominant, he gets reborn in a special creature, noticed for lack of intelligence. In the birth, he cannot attempt the realization of any good whatsoever. What are the leading effects of these gunas? From sattva arises knowledge. From rajas arises keen interest in worldly objects, either natural or supernatural. And from tamas, we have as efficient inadvertence leading to evil actions, wrong understanding, greater tamas, and finally, absence of understanding itself. The person established in sattva ascend ever higher and higher. Those established in rajas go round and round in the transmigratory cycle, and the last of those who are steeped in tamas is progressive degradation in the scale of life. How those who are established in sattva gradually ascend even beyond the sway of the gunas is brought out here. He who sees the gunas as the governing forces in all action, for his soul in bondage acts, not by its inherent nature, but as propelled by the gunas determined by past karma, with, and apprehends his self as beyond those actions, and as the nature of knowledge attains to likeliness to the supreme deity. The likeness to the supreme deity lies in the fact that it transcends the three gunas, sees the pure self in its essential nature, and is freed from birth, death, old age, and suffering, experiences the immortal Atman. Arjuna interposes at this stage and raises a question concerning the characteristic of the person who has transcended the three gunas and the exact way to achieve that transcendence. Arjuna asks, what are the distinguishing features of the man who has gone beyond the three gunas? What is the conduct that reveals his nature? Through what means does he succeed in getting beyond the three gunas? Krishna answers, the supreme characteristic of a man who has gone beyond the power of gunas is that he is free from all involvement in the gunas. He does not have the effects of the gunas of the nature of illumination, activity, and delusion. Illumination, sattva, activity, rajas, delusion, tamas. If they happen to be undesirable from a standpoint other than the one for which the self is the supreme object of interest. What is the desirable? What is desirable from the worldly point of view is not an object of aversion to him. In the same way, what is of value from a point of view for which the supreme object of interest is not his self, is not desired by him. Illumination, activity, and delusion that are desirable from other points of view are not of any interest to him, whatever as his sole concern is with the self. Such transcendence the earthbound interests and aversions is the basic attitude of the man who has gone beyond the gunas. His life embodies a transaction of value, transvaluation of values. He remains as if indifferent, for he is exclusively contented with the vision of the self that transcends the gunas. He is not moved from his steadfast spirituality by the gunas through the desires and aversions they engender. He remains serene and unperturbed, seeing that the gunas are simply working for working out their nature. He never yields to the provocations of the gunas and does not allow himself to be activated by them. He possesses equanimity of spirit under conditions of pleasure and pain. He enjoys the state of being established in his own Atman. It is for this reason that other pleasures and pains mean nothing to him. To him, gold and a lump of clay and all the objects of worldly love and hatred are of the same value. He is gifted with the discrimination between the Purusha and the Prema. He he is gifted in discrimination between the Purusha and Prakriti. He treats with equality praise and blame, honor and disgrace, friends and foes, for all these pertain to the form in which he is embodied. In truth, they have no connection with his inward essence, and he steadily dwells on this disconnection. He renounces all actions that proceed from identification with the body. He who has these features, both inner and outer, has gone beyond the realm of the gunas. So far as Sri Krishna is expounded the defining characteristics and behavior of the person who has ascended beyond the building qualities of Prakriti. Now, he answers the inquiry concerning the road of the freedom from which. He says, he who serves me omnipotent will of compassion supreme, and who am an ocean of tenderest love towards devotees with undivided bhakti, goes beyond these gunas and attains the eternal perfection characteristic of spirit. This is the right remedy for the evils of the gunas, for I am indeed the one means for the attainment of surpassing prosperity. Surrender to me is the unveiling means of attaining these great goals. This has been already declared in the seventh chapter. Here, it is brought forward and recommended for achieving freedom from the gunas. In fact, freedom from Maya spoken of there is the same as the freedom from the gunas. This is just a reiteration of the sovereign remedy with all the emphasis that the intervening teachings impart to it. So, ultimately, what is to be remembered from this study is summarized as follows. For this wonderful Maya of mine, comprising three gunas, is extremely difficult to break through, except for those taking refuge in me. Thus, surrendering to the God is the only method for crossing beyond the gunas and for achieving the state of Brahman. Surrender to the Lord, which is Prapatti, mentioned as an Anga, of unswerving bhakti yoga. As Prabhakti itself is an independent path, this may be debatable. The one who remains same in both honor and ignominy, as these are due to misconceptions of treating body as self. He looks at friend and foe equally, differentiating self from the body, and understands that there is connection between them and himself, thus renouncing all enterprises wherein embodied beings are worked. The one who is, as described here, is said to have risen above three gunas. Now the Lord goes on to state the methodology for crossing beyond the gunas. The statement in the earlier text that when he perceives no agent of action other than gunas, then he transcends them on the strength of reflection and the difference between the Prakriti and the self, but it will be sublated or contradicted by opposite subtle impressions, his vasanas, accumulated from beginning, as whole time. He who worships me, who am Satyasankalpa, or true desires, extremely compassionate and version of parental affection. With the true bhakti yoga, such an one transcends the three gunas, otherwise impossible to vanquish. Being qualified for the state of Brahman, the atheist itself is the word he here is used in the cause sense, and being the ground of individual self, imperishable, immortal, and eternal dharma, there is excelling eternal prosperity and fidelity attained by text 7 to 19. States Vasudeva is all, and I being the nature of stated here, devotion to me helps the Jivatma to cross beyond the gunas. So saying, he concludes the chapter for concluding on Ishvara in the Purushottama Yoga of the 15th chapter. Asmangrahamarambham Yadihe Gravadhyamam Lakshmi Vallavaryantam Vande Guru Paramparam.